Today we're looking at the RYOBI 40-volt cordless string trimmer. I want to show you how well it works, can it cut through thick grass as good as gas trimmers, how long does the battery last, and I'll also let you know if I recommend this electric trimmer over a gas powered one. I will just say that there is a downside to it, but it does have a solution, but more on that later. So let's get the show started. By the way, here is a timeline of the video in case you are looking for a specific part of it. Now let's get started with the review. We'll begin with the charger review. The charger is a fraction of the size of the 40-volt battery. The charging cord itself is removable. This comes with 5 indicating lights: power on, testing, error, charging, and ready. This is a slide-in charger that locks into place on the battery. This is released by pressing down on the lever on the battery. This battery is currently full, but I'll be using it until it stops working, just so you can see how long it lasts and how long it takes to charge up. Next, we have the string trimmer and some additional accessories that were included in the box. This comes with a plastic guard, a handle, some string for your trimmer, and you also get a speed winder or crank handle, however you want to call it. This is to help you reload the string faster. The trimmer head is entirely made out of plastic. However, the piece holding the trimmer head to the pole is metal, which makes it stronger than some of their other electric trimmer options if you ask me. I've seen some more economical electric trimmers of RYOBI, but the entire thing is plastic, which makes it susceptible to break sooner in my opinion. This model itself is part of the expanded attachments line, so you can swap out the trimmer and attach other tools like the saw or other tools that are compatible. This comes with a safety lock that needs to be pressed down on the trigger to turn on the trimmer. That's a nice safety feature, so you won't accidentally press it down and end up hurting yourself. The battery slides in and locks in place on the back of the tool. The trigger itself is a variable speed trigger, which means you can control the acceleration as you press on the trigger, which is a nice feature given that some electric trimmers only give you low speed or high speed options. This gives it the feel of a gas trimmer for those of you who enjoy controlling the acceleration with the trigger. I know I do. The trimmer head already comes with some string on it when you first pull it out of the box. At least mine did. But let's go ahead and pop off the bottom cap to show you what the inside looks like. Now it's important to note that you don't need to remove the cap to reload your string. That can be done with the cap on. To remove the cap, all you have to do is twist from lock to unlock mode. You only have one part inside of the head, which is the plastic part where the string wraps around on. In case you ever need to remove it, this is how you do that. To restring the trimmer, you just need to make sure the holes align. You can tell once you see light on the other side of the hole. Then you just slide in your string, get it to the measurement you need, and then you take your crank handle and use that to wind up your string inside. Again, you don't have to take off the trimmer head to restring. You can do this with the head locked in place to the rest of the trimmer. I just wanted to show you how it looked on the inside. Okay, so now let's take this outside and put it to the test. I will say I was impressed with the power of the motor. This can cut through some thick grass and weeds pretty good. As you can see here, this is cutting through those grass stumps without much of a problem. The power that it has is similar to a gas weed eater. So if you were looking to get this trimmer for small trimmings or for edging, this has more than enough power for small tasks like that. And you can control the speed just like a gas one. So if you have a part of grass that is not too thick, that you don't require maximum speed, you can slow down the trimmer to cut through it and you save some battery life. So I understand that the grass I'm cutting here is quite thick and I'm really pressing down on that throttle to cut through it. I did notice that my battery life went down 1 bar in less than 10 minutes. It's important to note that even though this went down 1 bar, it doesn't mean you've lost 1/4 of your battery. It could be that you've lost 1/16 or 1/8 of your battery. That's why I think that future models should have a digital gauge to show you exactly how much battery is left. Whether it's 90% or 75%, a digital reader would give you a more accurate reading of how much battery you have left versus using just 4 bars. So it was 11:50 a.m. when I started to cut the grass. And about 5 to 10 minutes in, that's when I saw that my battery went down 1 bar. But like I said, that just means I don't have a 100% charged battery. I could still have like 93%. I continue to cut more thick grass. Everything I'm cutting is tall and thick for the most part. I even cut the grass that grows between the concrete slabs, and this trimmer did a good job on that too. It is now 12:06, and you can see that I am down to 2 bars. So I continue to cut more tall grass and weeds, and finally the battery gave out at 12:46 p.m. So the battery lasted about 55 minutes, almost an hour. Again, I was going kind of heavy on the accelerator because I did have some thick grass I was cutting. So it did a pretty good job in my opinion. Here's the downside though. So I put the battery to charge at 12:50. I came back to check at it at 2:29 p.m. and the battery was still on the 2nd bar. This means that at this rate, it is going to take about 4 hours to fully charge. I've seen some people comment that it takes them 6 to 8 hours to get their battery to fully charge. So that is something you want to consider. RYOBI does sell a 40-volt rapid charger that is supposed to recharge your battery in 1 hour, but you have to dish out an additional $99. Or you can find a pre-owned one online, which I've seen them run around $30. I just don't see why RYOBI didn't include the fast charger from the beginning inside the box. I understand that they're trying to make some extra cash selling this charger separately, but I feel they should have just added the difference of the cost to the price tag of the weed eater and stop production of the super slow chargers. I would think that the slow charging probably would deter people from purchasing the trimmer in the first place. Similar case like fast chargers on the phones. It's a selling point, but what do you think? Should RYOBI just do away with the slow chargers and include the fast charger on all products and just hike up the price a few more dollars? Let me know in the comments. So is this better than a gas trimmer? The answer, well, it depends. The benefit of a gas trimmer is that you just fill the tank and continue to cut away. Whereas with an electric trimmer, you need to wait until the battery charges. You have to calculate how much grass you're going to be cutting and how long does the battery last on your trimmer. In my case, I'll mainly be using my gas mower to do most of the cutting, and I'll mainly be using the trimmer for those hard to reach areas, or if the grass is too long, and also for the edges. So for the moment, one battery is good enough for me, but I do plan to get the fast charger plus an additional battery just in case. But if you're planning to get this for a landscaping business, I still think that gas powered ones are a better option because you can just refill the tank and continue to trim away. But if you're planning to get an electric trimmer for your business, I would recommend you get extra batteries and that you get yourself the fast chargers. Otherwise, you'll end up running out of juice and then you'll have to wait for hours before your battery charges again. So definitely buy the extra batteries and the fast charger if you plan to use it for an extended amount of time throughout the day. I've seen landscapers that have electric trimmers and mowers, but they're fully prepared and with extra batteries and some of the best electric equipment out there. They spend thousands of dollars to make sure they have the best equipment and don't run out of batteries. So definitely something to consider. It's important to also note that the tool comes with a 5-year limited warranty and the battery comes with a 3-year warranty during the recording of this video. That may help you to calculate how much it'll truly cost you versus a gas trimmer. Would I recommend it? Yes, I would. But like I said, if you can, buy the extra batteries and the fast charger because that would make your life a lot easier. You don't have to wait until the one battery you have charges. You can just swap out the batteries. But at least you don't have to deal with any more maintenance like you do with gas trimmers. No more changing the spark plug or buying fuel. Those days are over. But you must make sure to charge your batteries. If you have this string trimmer, let me know in the comment section. What do you think of it? Has it worked out for you? Do you regret getting it? Do you prefer gas or are you extremely comfortable with it? Or is there another electric trimmer that you recommend? Let me know in the comment section. And today we are looking at the RYOBI 18-volt cordless jet fan blower. We'll put it to the test and I'll also let you know if I recommend it or if it is that I regret the purchase. So let's get started. I already own a blower, but it's got one problem. And that is that, well, it's a corded one. So I wanted to get one that I could just grab and blow with, without the hassle of actually getting an extension cord. So I went to Home Depot and got myself this blower right here. Now this runs on the RYOBI 18-volt battery packs. I was hesitant at first to get it because I was leaning more towards a gas-powered one. But let me show you what this blower can do. Now CFM stands for cubic feet per meter, which indicates the power of the volume of air per minute. The larger the CFM, the larger the area your blower can cover. So this one has 350 CFM. It's not the biggest one they have, but I believe it's a decent size for my yard. So anyways, the assembly of this is pretty straightforward. You get the blower nozzle, which you can also use as an arm cast if you ever get injured. And you also get the blower itself. You also get the manual and a whole bunch of papers. But we won't even be looking at those because this is so easy to operate, I think. I would definitely carry this around as part of a Halloween costume, because this looks like a futuristic gun. Something out of a video game. It looks like it'll start shooting laser beams once I insert the battery pack. Anyways, here is the handle, which you grab onto, and the trigger. You can also see two more things. First, the top part where you plug in your 18-volt battery, and on the bottom, the vent through where the air is sucked in through. And if you look deep inside, you can see the brushless motor. Now the assembly of this is quite easy. All you do is align the nozzle to the clips on the blower and you snap it into place. From there, you just plug in your battery and you're good to start blowing away. Now as you press the trigger, I notice that the motor begins to build up acceleration. Whereas on my corded blower, you just switch the on button and you instantly get the punch of air coming out. But that's okay, I guess. I can wait a second before it reaches its full potential. But that's something to consider. But once you've maxed the trigger,
It's actually quite strong. The good thing about the trigger as well is that you can control the amount of air you're blowing based on how much you pull the trigger. So you don't have to use it all full blast all the time. The less you press the trigger, the less the air that'll blast out. It's strong enough to blow the box away without a problem. Now let's put it to the test and clean out a few areas. My smartwatch here says it's currently 4:39 p.m. So let's test out the blower for a few minutes and see how much battery this thing uses. And just so you can see, I have a full battery, 4 bars. First off, I have these tiles that always get covered with dust and dirt and all sorts of debris. So let's clean that part out first. And just like that, we can now see just how much better the tiles look after a quick blow. Here's a ball as well. Let's blow that out of the way. So it works well when trying to clear debris such as leaves, cut grass, dirt. It doesn't have much of a problem. It is now 4:47 p.m. so I've used it about 8 minutes and my battery has dropped to 1 bar. So you can say that it'll run about 30 to 35 minutes on a full charge at full blast. Now, if you have a big yard and you usually use your blower for much longer, or if you have some sort of landscaping business, then it would be best you have multiple batteries fully charged to use throughout the day, because one battery itself will not do the job for big yards, I believe. If you own multiple batteries, that's great news though. One flaw I did notice is that the suction vent tends to suck my shirt towards it. So that itself may be a bother, because you can't have it too close to your shirt or you'll get it sucked right in and lose some blast power on the front end. I think a better design would have been if they put the suction vent on the side or on the bottom. So now, compared with my $30 corded Black & Decker, my corded one is smaller. It actually has more CFM power. I'm not sure exactly how much, but I do feel it is more powerful. But then again, it's a corded, so I'm getting more power from the socket. Also, the suction vent is on the bottom, so it doesn't pull my shirt. So do I regret buying this RYOBI blower? The answer is no. And the main reasons why is because 1, I do not have a big lawn. So the amount of time I'll be using this will probably range about 30 to 40 minutes. 2, I have extra batteries, so in case I need to get more use out of it, I'll just switch out the battery. And finally 3, it is so convenient to just grab a battery pack, plug it in, and start to use it. It beats having to plug in my corded one. I'm sure I'll be using the RYOBI blower far more now than what I use my corded Black & Decker. If you own one of these blowers, let me know what you think of it. Do you like it? Do you regret getting one? What are your pros and cons? Let me know in the comment section.
I will be doing a short review and obviously going over a few of my experiences with the 18-volt OnePlus 150-watt power source by RYOBI. One household outlet, which is 120 volts, 1.25 amps, and you also have 2 USB-A ports, 5 volts, 2.4 amps shared. So you have 3 ports in total to charge. Also comes with a small light, and you also have an on and off button to save battery life. I will say that the only thing about the USB ports is they are not, they're very helpful, but I'll be honest, they don't do any fast charge. So unless you have a lot of time or you don't mind actually plugging something and leaving it plugged there for a while, that would be probably the only thing you would be able to use the USB-A ports. But if you're trying to charge your phone and you want to do a little bit of fast charging, I recommend using the outlet in order to get the fast charging. And you can probably see here in my video, I'm actually doing the little test where I'm plugging into the USB port, and you will see that the fast charging does not turn on. Fast charging only turns on when I plug to the household outlet. So that's one thing to keep in mind. This tool I actually bought about 2 years ago. Obviously there's already a new version of it that came out a few months ago. So this is a little bit outdated, you could say, but it is still very useful. But anyways, like I said, it comes with also with a small light. The small light is pretty bright. Get a little bit of light in the dark. It's a little bit bulky. It's not that bright, but the light still comes in handy. You also have that on and off button, like I said, to save a little bit of battery life. So if you're not using it, obviously just turn it off and you will get an indicator when it's on. It will turn green. And obviously when you turn it off, well, the light turns off completely. What are the benefits of actually having this tool? Well, it's compact, first of all. It is mobile. So anywhere you go, you could actually be charging. I personally take it with me anytime I go out of town. And whenever I go out of town, what in my own personal experience, and I believe with many people when they go out of town, what is the one thing you want to have fully charged all the time because you really rely on those Google Maps? Well, that's your phone. You need to have your phone charged because you rely on the maps, whether it be you're going out of town for vacation. Well, guess what? You need directions to restaurants, hotel, any place for entertainment that you're looking for. So obviously you want to make sure you have an outlet or the USB ports available to charge. That's one thing that before I used to own this tool, that was one of my biggest concerns whenever I was going out of town, is that I always had to make sure that early in the morning I had my phone fully charged, because as soon as I walked out of the door, I was already on the road. Whenever I was getting to whatever town I was going into, well, guess what? I have to pull up the Google Maps, and obviously you start draining juice. And obviously it's not like if a wall outlet is available just anywhere that you go. So this is my own personal wall outlet that I'm actually able to carry with me. And as long as I have my RYOBI batteries fully charged, I tend to take 2 to 3 batteries with me fully charged, and I take a charger in case whenever I get to the hotel, I'll just recharge my batteries if I did use them. So that's one of the major benefits of this tool, that obviously it's your portable outlet. And if you need to be charging your phones, especially your phones when you're going out of town, it is so helpful. I've used this so many times that I can't see myself without something similar to this anymore. So those are some of the benefits of actually owning this power source. What are some of the cons? Well, you can't just power anything. It's not like if you could just plug in a TV and expect for it to work, or a mini fridge. Well, no, obviously there is a limit to this, and it also depends on your batteries. For the most part, you could power small things, whether that be phones, laptops, tablets, things like that. You could power without any issues, but obviously you cannot power huge things. For that, obviously we've now seen the new battery generators that have came out, or gas generators for bigger things. But for a quick and easy charge, this works awesome. This has been an amazing tool. Like I said, aside from going out of town, this tool actually comes in handy whenever I'm outside and I don't have access to an outlet outside. I'm actually able to use this and just to charge whatever it is I'm trying to charge, whether it be my phone, a Bluetooth speaker, whatever, camera, it doesn't matter. I'm actually planning for this summer to actually do a little bit of camping, and obviously this is probably the #1 tool I'll be using for quick charges. So definitely something that I would use if I were to go camping, versus having to carry like a huge generator or a huge one of those the new battery generators. They are helpful, don't get me wrong, but obviously if you're trying to do a little bit of camping outdoors, well, you want to enjoy the outdoors, right? But obviously you want to have your phone charged in case of an emergency or whatever. So this is very helpful. So what have I charged with this? Well, I've charged my phone, I've charged tablets, I've actually charged one of my laptops, and a small fan, Bluetooth speaker, some of my cameras, and also some power tools like Dremel. You could see here on the video powering corded tools, which is the Dremel. So you are able to even plug in if you have corded tools, as long as obviously it meets the standards or the requirements to be powered by this tool by your batteries. It should be able to power. But obviously, like I said, it depends on the size of the tool. If it requires too much juice, it just won't power it, right? Or if it
sucks up too much energy as well, well, you know, you probably won't be able to run it other than a few minutes. So it might not be the best thing to use to power maybe, you know, a really heavy saw or something that just needs a lot of power in it. I wouldn't recommend it, in my opinion, to power something that big. Last thing I want is to burn out my small tool or to burn out my batteries. So I rather just stick to the tools that, or the equipment or whatever it is that actually meets the requirements. Obviously, you could check yourself, your tools to see, or your devices, which ones could actually be powered. But I will say that, I mean, I think this tool is very helpful, but what makes it helpful is having the batteries, right? I myself, before I actually bought this tool, I already had plenty of batteries because of my power tools. So I own about 10 batteries right now, and normally I always have them charged. You know, I pretty much, anytime I'm running low on juice on a battery that I have on this power source, well, I just swap it out. So it's only as good as the amount of batteries that you have available, right, that are charged. So in my opinion, like I said, having more batteries available obviously makes this tool far more helpful and useful. So anyways, that's just a quick review and a little bit of my opinion on this power source by RYOBI. Let me know in the comments section if you have this tool. What else have you powered, and what is your opinion on it? Would you give it a 5-star rating? Would you give it a 1-star rating? Let me know in the comments section. I'd like to hear from some of you guys out there. Today we're looking at a flashlight that I believe is many times overlooked. I'm talking about the RYOBI flashlight P705. I'm going to let you know why this should be your next flashlight. The reason I got this flashlight over 3 years ago was because we had a power outage that lasted 3 days. This was around winter time, so it would get dark pretty early. By 6 p.m. we were already in the dark. Now for those 3 days, I was scrambling around, going to stores looking for AA and AAA batteries to power some flashlights. But the problem with those alkaline batteries is that they are expensive, and second of all, they're non-rechargeable. Since I didn't know how long the outage would last, and depending on the usage of these non-rechargeable batteries, I didn't know how long they would last either, so I didn't know how many packs to get. Long story short, I never wanted to go through something like that again. I already own rechargeable RYOBI batteries that I always have fully charged, so it only made sense to get flashlights that can plug into my RYOBI batteries. So I did, and this was one of them. With so many flashlight options out there and from different price ranges and lumens, it's hard to decide on a specific one. But one that makes sense to get is the P705, especially if you already own RYOBI batteries. Some people believe that the tiny flashlight on their $1,000 phone is more than enough for many things, and I thought so too, until I ran into being without light for 3 days. But there definitely are big differences from your phone's flashlight and an actual flashlight. So let's take a look at the RYOBI flashlight P705 and see what makes this an ideal flashlight to get. For starters, it's priced at around $20 US. That's just 2% of the cost of a $1,000 phone with a flashlight. At that price, I would consider maybe even getting another one of these RYOBI flashlights as a backup. That is, of course, as mentioned, if you already own the batteries. If you don't have batteries, then you'll have to get some first. You can find some pretty sweet deals on battery packs, so don't let that be a discouragement. Plus, some of the following features may also be more than enough to convince you that this is a good option. This has a rubberish grip to it, so it won't slip out of your hands easily. Plus, it has some plastic cooling vents around it. It's entirely made out of plastic. It has an on and off button, and it only has one light mode. This measures 8.5 inches in length, 3 1/4 inches in width, and about 4.5 inches in height with the battery. Without the battery, it's about 3.5 inches. This has a light output of 130 lumens. Obviously, we know that there are other flashlights with far more lumens with greater light output as well. But for the average person like myself who mainly will use it around home, 130 lumens is more than enough. I mainly use it in my backyard, or if I'm trying to look for something inside my garage. It's more than enough light output, and I still get good visibility. So 130 lumens can be considered enough light output for the average person that only needs it for around the house. Another feature is the rotating head for adjustable light beam direction, which you can twist the head to point up towards the ceiling almost at 180 degrees. This comes in handy, especially if you're under your car and you need to point it to your engine bay. That would be very helpful. That's a great feature, especially if you're going to have your hands busy. You don't have to be holding the light to point up. Another feature that'll free up your hands is the ability to hang the flashlight on 2x4s. It doesn't require anything to be attached to it. Its gap between the handle is the perfect fit for a 2x4 to slip in. So definitely helps helpful if you're doing some work in your home and you have some 2x4s exposed where you can hang this. And in case you don't have a 2x4 to hang it on, then you can hang it on a nail on either one of the following hole options that are included. Or you can also add a clip to it as another hanging option. Now this runs on the 18-volt 1+ lithium batteries, which are interchangeable batteries. And RYOBI states you should be able to get around 35 hours of runtime, which is more than enough for around the house. All I have to do whenever the battery runs out is just swap it out for a battery that is already fully charged. This would have been very handy in those days when I didn't have power. So this is a great addition to your tool collection if you already own RYOBI batteries. You can't go wrong, especially for the price. So these are all the features included in this flashlight. Let me know what you think of it. If you own one already, have you found it useful? How do you use it? Do you find yourself often hanging it on a 2x4? What would you rate it from a 1 to 5 stars? That is all I have for y'all today. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more upcoming videos. That is all. Thank you for your time. Have yourself a great day.